Hello everyone. Have you been putting all your groceries straight into the fridge, thinking that's always the safest way? If you're over 60, this habit could quietly be ruining your food and even putting your health at risk. Today we're talking about 9 everyday foods that you should never refrigerate. You'll see why keeping them cold might actually do more harm than good. 1. Potatoes. Cold storage that backfires. Hey, tell me, doesn't it seem safer to keep things in the fridge, especially starchy foods like potatoes? Well, not this time. Here's the thing, when you store raw potatoes in a cold environment, the starch inside them starts to convert to sugar. That may not sound like a big deal, but once you cook those sweet potatoes, especially by baking or frying them, they can create a chemical called acrylamide. Studies have linked acrylamide to nerve damage and even increased cancer risk in older adults. And the surprise? You won't even know it's happening. You've probably noticed this already. Have you ever baked potatoes and they tasted strangely sweet or turned mushy instead of crisp? That's a sign they've been in the fridge too long. This is more important than you think. For those over 60, acrylamide buildup is something you don't want to happen, especially if you already have blood sugar issues or chronic inflammation. So here's a simple fix. Keep your potatoes in a cool, dry, dark place, like a cupboard or pantry. No fridge, no risk. Comment 1 below if you've put potatoes in the fridge without thinking twice. Let's see how many of us have done this without even realizing it. 2. Bread. The mistake that makes it go bad faster. So, you probably think that keeping bread in the fridge will help it last longer, right? That's what most people over 60 were taught when they were younger. But the truth is, that freezer compartment could be ruining your loaf of bread. Here's what actually happens. When you store bread in the fridge, the starches in it start to harden much faster, a process called starch retrogradation. Instead of staying soft and chewy, your bread dries out. Worse yet, the humidity in the fridge can seep into the crust, creating just enough moisture for mold to grow, even if you don't notice it right away. And for older people, eating moldy bread, even accidentally, can lead to gas, nausea, headaches, or yeast infections. Your immune system isn't as sharp as it used to be, so a little mold can cause more harm than it did when you were in your 30s or 40s. Here's what you can do instead. If you're going to eat your bread within 2 or 3 days, keep it in a sealed bag or container at room temperature. Otherwise, freeze it in slices and toast as much as you need. No drying out. No hidden mold, no waste. You might think stale bread is your biggest fridge problem, but what if the next item quietly spoils everything else in there too? Stick around. It's one that can sneak into your eggs, butter, and even your coffee. 3. Onions. The sneaky fridge mistake. That affects everything else. You cut an onion, use half, and then the rest, put it straight in the fridge, right? It seems like a smart move, but here's the thing. That simple habit can make your whole fridge smell and worse, secretly grow mold. Onions are made to be in dry air. When you store them in a cold, damp space like the fridge, they start to absorb moisture very quickly. That damages their outer skin, makes them soft and mushy, and makes them go bad faster than you think. And here's the thing people don't always realize. That pungent smell? It's not just in the container. It permeates everything around it. Eggs, butter, milk. You'll eat onion-scented toast without even realizing why. Now for older people, this becomes a bigger problem. When your sense of smell is impaired, you may not even notice when an onion has gone bad, or when it has spoiled the rest of your food. That increases your risk of eating something that has gone bad without warning. So what should you do? Keep whole onions in a mesh bag or basket in a cool, dry place, away from potatoes, as both give off gases that cause each other to spoil faster. Once you've cut an onion, try to use the rest within a few days. And if you must store it, seal it tightly and keep it away from other food. Comment 3 below if you've ever left onions in the fridge without thinking twice. Fix that today. 4. Tomatoes. Why cold tomatoes taste like wet paper? Hey, let me ask you, have you ever cut open a beautiful red tomato, taken a bite, and thought, why is this so tasteless? Tomatoes, huh? Well, here's the thing. When you put tomatoes in the fridge, the cold actually stops the enzymes that make them sweet and flavorful. The cold also damages their cell structure, so instead of being juicy and firm, they become mushy and bland. You're not imagining it. The fridge is literally stealing their flavor. And if you're over 60, this is where things get complicated. Your sense of smell and taste naturally decline with age, which means you may not even notice that tomato has gone bland until it's already ruined your salad or sandwich. So what happens next? You throw it away, not because it's spoiled, but because it's tasteless. That's wasted food, lost nutrition, and wasted money. Here's what you should do instead. Leave your tomatoes out on the counter. Not in direct sunlight, just somewhere cool at room temperature. Stem side down, helps retain moisture. And when they start to ripen quickly, make a quick tomato sauce or add them to soup. You'll get all the flavor they have to offer. Losing tomato flavor is one thing, but the next mistake? It could be sitting in your fridge right now, quietly growing a deadly bacteria. Don't panic, just keep watching to find out how to avoid it safely. 5. Garlic. A tiny ingredient with a hidden danger. Hey, you buy a head of garlic, put it in the fridge, and voila, easy, right? But here's what you might not know. That cold spot can secretly turn your garlic into a real problem. See, garlic doesn't like moisture. In the fridge, it starts to sprout much faster. The cloves become rubbery, sometimes green in the middle, and lose the rich, pungent flavor you want in your meals. But the real concern? It's not just the flavor, it's what happens when minced garlic is stored in oil. Even if you refrigerate it, the oil-infused garlic mixture can create the perfect environment for a rare but deadly bacteria called Clostridium botulinum, which causes botulism. The bacteria doesn't change the look, smell, or taste of the food. But if it does develop, it can lead to serious illness, especially in people over 60 who have weaker immune systems. So here's what you can do instead. Store whole garlic in a cool, dry, dark place, not in plastic, and definitely not sealed. And if you like to prepare ahead, chop the garlic and toss it with vinegar or lemon juice instead of oil. That little bit of acid keeps it much safer. Comment 5 below if you've ever stored garlic in oil and thought it was okay. You're not alone, but now you know how to handle it better. 6. Coffee. The fridge habit that's ruining your morning cup. Hey, let's talk about your morning routine. If you're like most people, over 60, that first cup of coffee, it's sacred. So you probably feel smart about keeping your coffee beans or grounds in the fridge, to keep them fresh. But here's the truth. It's actually doing the opposite. Coffee is like a sponge. It absorbs moisture and odors from everything around it. Leftovers, onions, even fish. And when that happens, your smooth, rich cup of joe starts to taste bitter, flat, or just weird. You're not imagining it. And here's why it's even more important as you get older. Caffeine helps with alertness, improves memory, and even mood. But if your coffee starts to taste weird, you may want to drink less of it. Or worse, drink something that has lost the antioxidants that support heart and brain health. Here's an easy fix. Store your coffee in an airtight, dark container. Keep it in a cupboard away from heat, light, and moisture. And no, the freezer isn't a good backup either. It creates condensation when you take the bag of coffee in and out. A bitter cup of coffee's bad enough, but what if the sweet stuff you add to it is falling apart too? Don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. Just keep watching to find out how to keep honey smooth, safe, and full of benefits. 7. Honey, the fridge move that turns a superfood into a sticky mess. Hey, you open a new jar of honey, take a spoonful or two, then put it in the fridge. Seems like a safe move, right? But the cold you thought would protect it? It's actually the reason your honey becomes thick, gritty, and hard to use. Here's what's happening. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize, which means it turns solid, lumpy, and nearly impossible to scoop. Some people even think it's gone bad and throw it away. Worse yet, if moisture gets into the jar before it's sealed, the honey can slowly start to ferment. That changes the flavor, increases the sugar content, and kills some of the natural enzymes that give raw honey its special powers. Now, if you're over 60, this is more important than you might think. Honey's antibacterial enzymes help support your immune system, and a little honey can even soothe a sore throat. But when it's stored incorrectly, you lose all those benefits. You're left with a sticky mess. Here's a better way. Keep your honey sealed in a cool, dry cupboard. No refrigeration required. And if it crystallizes, no problem. Just put the jar in a bowl of warm water and let it slowly return to its liquid form. It's still as good as before. Comment 7 if you've ever thrown out honey because it was lumpy or weird. You didn't spoil it, the fridge did. 8. Bananas. Why the fridge turns them ugly and useless. Let me ask you this. Do you put bananas in the fridge as soon as you get home from the store? It sounds smart at first. Keep them cold, slow down the ripening process, right? But bananas don't work that way. See, cold air not only slows down the ripening process, it also ruins them. The skin turns black, the inside gets blotchy and mushy, and the flavor fades. And this is something most people over 60 don't hear enough about. When bananas are cold like that, they lose some of their brain-boosting compounds like dopamine. That's one of the natural chemicals that helps support mood and memory. And once a banana looks too soft or too dark, it's likely to end up in the trash. Not because it's unsafe, but because it looks bad. That's a waste of nutrients. So, here's the better option. Store your bananas at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. Let them ripen naturally. If they get too soft for your liking, peel them, cut them into pieces, and freeze them for later use in smoothies, oatmeal, or baking. No waste and still full of benefit. So, your bananas turn black overnight? Frustrating, but fixable. But what if your olive oil, the healthy one, is quietly losing its power every time you reach for it? Hang tight, you'll want to hear this before your next drizzle. 9. Olive oil, why cold air turns it from healthy to harmful. Let's talk about that bottle of olive oil sitting in your fridge right now. You probably think that keeping it cold will keep it fresher longer, right? A lot of people do. But here's what actually happens when olive oil gets too cold. Cold air causes olive oil to thicken and become cloudy, and that's just the beginning. Every time you take it out and put it back in, the temperature change triggers oxidation. That means the healthy fats and antioxidants inside start to break down. So instead of helping your heart, joints, and brain, it's just fat with fewer benefits. Have you ever noticed your oil looking thick or pouring out in clumps? Maybe it smells a little off? That's not the good stuff anymore. For older adults, that's important. Olive oil can help reduce inflammation, stiffness, and even aid memory, but only if it's stored properly. The fix is simple. Keep your olive oil in a cool, dark place. Not cold, just cool. The pantry is perfect. Use dark glass bottles or stainless steel containers to protect it from light. No need to overthink it. just don't refrigerate it. Comment 9 if your olive oil has ever been thick or cloudy. It's a small change, but it makes a big difference to your health. You've come to the end, so take a deep breath and review what we've been talking about. As it turns out, a lot of everyday foods really shouldn't be kept in the fridge, even though it seems like the safest place to be. Things like potatoes, bread, and onions don't like the cold. Tomatoes lose their flavor, garlic becomes dangerous, and coffee? Well, that perfect morning cup of joe can quickly turn bitter. And then there's honey, which thickens and becomes unwieldy. Bananas get blotchy and mushy before you know it. And even olive oil, one of the healthiest things in your kitchen, can silently lose its potency when left too cold. This isn't about making big changes. It's about knowing what your food needs to stay good and keeping things simple, safe, and delicious. And there you have it. 9 foods you probably thought were safer in the fridge, but now you know, they're better off somewhere else. Don't feel bad if you've been doing it wrong. Most of us were just trying to keep things fresh. But sometimes, it's not about doing more, it's about doing smarter. So here's a small action you can take today. Head to your kitchen, check where those items are stored, and make one small change. That's how better habits begin. If any of this surprised you, let us know in the comments. Just drop a number 1 to 9 for the one you've been storing wrong the longest. And if this video helped you feel a little more in control of your health and your kitchen, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss what's coming next. We've got more tips like this, made just for folks over 60 to help you live smarter, longer, and healthier, one small change at a time.